Last night in game number 1, Kyle Loesch goes 5 innings. He gives up 4 hits and really set the tone for this series, especially pitching-wise for the St. Louis Cardinals. This evening, it's game number 2. Camden Yards is the scene. That's the home to the Baltimore Orioles, and the Cardinals looking to go to 5 games above the 500 mark. And along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. And the Cardinals got healthier in game 1. That made a big difference.
Yeah, not only were these 2 right-handed hitters back, Dan, but they also started producing right away. I'm talking about David Freese and Nick Punto, both of them with a couple hits last night. They were a big part of the Cardinals' offense. But tonight, it's going to be about Chris Carpenter, and can the Cardinals pitching continue to go in a positive direction? Carpenter very good in his last outing against the Phillies, best team in baseball, 7 strong innings. Let's hope he can do it again tonight.
There is news here at the ballpark. The Cardinals have released Ryan Franklin. We'll talk about that after our first pitch, which comes your way next. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. It was a solid win last night for the Cardinals as we welcome you back to Baltimore. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Game 2 of our 3-game set here on your exclusive home of Cardinals baseball, Fox Sports Midwest. Skip Schumacher leads it off, and on the first pitch, he pops it up to the left side. J.J. Hardy, the former Brewer, is over to make the catch. Let's meet Tony La Russa's lineup tonight. It's Skip Schumacher, John Jay, and then Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman, David Freese, Colby Erasmus, Yadier Molina, Mark Hamilton, and Nick Punto. Let's get the scout report on the big right-hander from Baltimore.
Yeah, his last name is Jack Ubaskus. That's probably all the report you need, Dan, just so we say his name right. But he's very athletic, was actually a DH in college. Better as a starter than he's been in the bullpen. And his best pitch is a curveball. That's the ABCs of Chris Jakubaskus.
So I was told it was Jakubaskus, so you're saying it's Jakubaskus.
Well, I don't know. Well, it starts with a J is all I can tell you. Jakubaskus.
I think either way will be acceptable tonight. John Jay is hitting .304 on the year.
Unless his parents are listening.
Very true. No balls and 2 strikes. Outfield is straight away for Jay. Picked up an RBI last night. That was his 19th of the year. Cardinals start with a record today of 42-38. Baltimore, after a very good start, they've dropped now to 35-41. And the always very tough American League East division. Cardinals at the start of play today in the Central, 2 games back of Milwaukee. And a swing and a miss by Jay. First strikeout. There's that curveball that you talked about.
Very good overhand curveball. Very much overmatching John Jay in that at-bat.
Defense with P.A. Jones, Markakis in the outfield. It's Reynolds, Hardy, Davis, and Lee along the infield. And there's a look at your battery tonight. Really one of the better defenders behind the plate, Matt Wieters.
Pretty good defense up the middle, too, with J.J. Hardy. He's been outstanding. Also with the bat. He's having a nice year.
Felix P.A. gets that start in left. Luke Scott is out. We saw what he did in that amazing catch in left field last night. Holliday into center field. The catch made by Adam Jones. And it's Chris Carpenter to work when we come back. That's the warehouse here at Camden Yards, built between 1898 and 1905. And located in right field, Hardy, Markakis, and Jones. Then Guerrero, Lee, and Wieters, Reynolds, PA, and Blake Davis. A look at the Southwest Airlines lineup for the Baltimore Orioles. Everybody today is very interested to see what Chris Carpenter can do with back-to-back starts of 120 pitches or more. And just how good does he feel? He looked very effective in his last start.
Against a very good team, the Philadelphia Phillies. And obviously the Orioles not quite the same kind of offensive team, but here at Camden Yards you have to be careful. This is a home run ballpark. Carpenter's given up his share of home runs this year.
1 ball, 1 strike. Yadier Molina is his catcher for this ball game tonight. We've seen Carpenter a couple of times with Tony Cruz, and those two had very good success. That's taken a little bit low. Manny Gonzalez is the home plate umpire. He's calling balls and strikes as you get a look at the numbers for J.J. Hardy.
9 home runs in the month of June for Hardy. Only 3 players in baseball with more home runs.
And he hits one out to deep right field. John Jay is back, and makes the catch. Look at Tony La Russa's defense for the ball game here tonight. Brought to you by Dobbs, Holiday, Rasmus and Jay, Freeze, Punto, Schumacher, Berkman, and the battery, Chris Carpenter and Yadier Molina. Let's get a look at our scouting report for Chris Carpenter.
All right, the ABCs for Chris Carpenter. He needs to get aid from his teammates, and by that I mean good defense as well as some run support. The B is beware of pitch count. The 120 plus the last 2 outings, Dan, you were talking about. And the C is cutter and curveball command, very important to Chris Carpenter.
Nick Markakis, the hitter, batting .279. Slices one out to left, and that'll find the glove of Matt Holliday. 2 outs. Rick, do we make too much of a big deal on pitch counts, in your opinion?
Well, we can. I think generally it's still a good thing to track, but I think there's some variables in it we probably don't think about enough, like how many of those pitches were under stress, how healthy is the pitcher, what time of year is it, was it a cool night, was it a hot night? I think the pitches under stress probably the single most important variable that really we don't stress enough.
Here is Adam Jones.
If you have, for example, 120 pitches in 5 innings and bases are loaded the whole time, I mean, your arm's going to feel terrible the next day. If you pitch 10 innings or 9 innings like Cliff Lee did against the Cardinals, he woke up the next day, probably felt like he could throw again.
He even said after that start against the Cardinals that he was ready to go to the 10th or 11th inning if need be.
Yeah, because he's not pitching under stress. He's in a nice groove. He's not really straining, really pitching at 85–90% in terms of effort. And really, that's probably another thing we don't talk about enough. When a pitcher is hot, good cutter from Carpenter, and he is on track, it is not 100% effort vocation. I mean, you need to be kind of backed off a little bit, and you can actually throw harder if you're physically backed off just a bit.
1 ball, they had 2 strikes here on Adam Jones. As Adam Wainwright was telling us in the booth, and Skip Schumacher talked about it, they feel that Carpenter's stuff is still as good as it's ever been. And he has a chance, especially if the team is reeling to, for him, reel off 9 or 10 wins in a row, that his stuff is that good to do it and carry a team. This is Nick Punto at short, lobs it over to first, and Adam Jones is retired. Good start for Carp. Berkman comes up when we come back. Our Toyota keys to the game: record win, scoring first.
Yeah, no score yet in this game. The Cardinals have scored first more than any team in baseball. The problem is that they've lost 19 of those games. Winning percentage much lower than the Baltimore Orioles. When they score first, they generally win.
And here is Lance Berkman to lead it off. It'll be Berkman, Freeze, and Colby Rasmus. And the first pitch taken for a strike. Berkman's average now under 300 at 295, but the power numbers very, very good. 18 home runs. He's driven in 54 this year.
And these two certainly know each other. Lance Berkman hit a line drive off the head of Jack Yabowskis that ended his season and almost ended his career. Actually, he is a independent league signee. He was a guy that was just kind of banging around just trying to keep in this game, and the Seattle Mariners gave him a chance. The Pirates gave him a chance. Now Baltimore's giving him a chance. Here he is in the rotation in the big leagues.
Remember when Albert Pujols hit a comebacker off of Chris Young? That was a scary situation in San Diego. Two and two. Willie Mo Pena, remember him? He's back in the major leagues as you get a look at where this big right-hander is from, Anaheim, California. But Willie Mo Pena, independent league, now back in the big leagues. Berkman hits it down the left field line. It is slicing and it is foul.
I always think of Josh Kinney pitching in St. Charles and just kind of trying to get a shot at playing minor league baseball. The Cardinals see him, like him, sign him. Next thing you know, he gets better and better, goes up to AAA, and all of a sudden is a huge part of the Cardinals bullpen in 2006 when they won the World Series.
Jason Simon Tachi, another one of those.
I have contended for a long time, after really watching that year intently, the 2006 season, Cardinals don't win the World Series without Josh Kinney.
Nope, you're exactly right. Also, when Detroit threw it all over the infield, that helped too.
Well, there's a lot of other
when they
things.
couldn't field a bunt, that also contributed to a Cardinals World Series.
It helped.
I've heard Sean Casey talk about it on MLB Network, and he's doing some work for them. And remember, Sean was with Detroit in '06, and he said it was just the most amazing thing he had ever seen in baseball. The fact that they just could not field a bunt. And some people would look at that and say that's the easiest play. They're giving you the out. All you have to do is field it, stand up, step, and throw. But yet they threw it everywhere.
Doing things in October is a little harder than doing things in September.
Remember that stress thing you talk about?
Yeah,
with certain pitchers and pitches?
That's right.
That's stressful. A leadoff walk for Lance Berkman. Brings in David Freese. I don't think there's any doubt, too, that when you look at Detroit that year, and the players have even talked about it, you're creatures of habit, as you know, Rick, and you're used to taking BP and then playing a game or playing planning a side session and throwing if you're a starting pitcher. They had so much time off between their championship series and then the World Series that it's very tough just to gear it back up.
Tough to be sharp, and they weren't. Their timing was off. They didn't swing the bat very well. Of course, Cardinal pitching had something to do with that.
And you'd also have to say that that's why teams advance with the wild card. It's like they're playing playoff baseball for the final 2 months where every game is so crucial, and then they get into the playoffs and they're ready to go. Freese pops it up, shallow right. Markakis will make the catch.
Just nice to see David Freese back in the lineup. Gets fisted a bit on this one. Fastball, nice location inside from Jackie Bauskas. See how many times I can say his name tonight.
You're on your game tonight.
I'm kind of hoping for an early exit because they've got a guy named Johnson in the bullpen. I think I'll do much better with that.
Is there a Smith?
No, there's no Smith.
No Smith. Jones.
There's a Simon and a Birkin and a Koji Uhara. Well, it might not get easier.
Here's a bunt attempt by Rasmus that rolls foul. And you mentioned this last night. This might be a good time to do it with Mark Reynolds, who at times has struggled defensively. And in that 6th spot in the lineup, Colby Rasmus at 361. A short lead at first by Berkman, and Rasmus takes a ball inside. Colby homered last night over the scoreboard in right. Hard to believe this ballpark nearly 20 years old. Beautiful Camden Yards here in Baltimore. Opened up in 1992.
I actually thought the bunt for Rasmus was a better idea last night against the left-hander than the right-hander. Rasmus ends up hitting a long towering home run in that game last night. It was good to see his production, and that production in the 6th spot. You know, we'll give you all kinds of splits throughout the year, day, night, inning, lefty, righty, all that, but there may be some significance to Colby being more comfortable in that 6th spot.
The 2-1 pitch. And this is hit a ton out to deep right field. At the track, at the wall. Goodbye. Long home run for Colby Rasmus to make it 2-0 St. Louis. Eighth home run. RBIs 31 and 32.
Wouldn't it be something if Colby Rasmus starts to catch fire? That pitch right down central. Pitcher knew it right away. Colby, his second home run of the series, and both of them, Dan, have been no doubters.
I want to go back to something that you just said and the significance of Colby in that 6th spot and why you think it might be a good thing for him.
Well, there's a little bit less, and I don't want to use the word pressure as if Colby doesn't like pressure, but he can be himself in that 6th spot. He can get RBI opportunities in the 6th spot. But in the 2nd spot, he maybe has to be a different kind of hitter.
So Colby Rasmus, safe at home, safe and secure, New York Life. You know, Holiday hits those line drive home runs, and the last 2 by Rasmus, high arcing long shots, and it always just looks so nice from a left-handed swinger.
I think the key is if you're at the ballpark and you want to see a Matt Holliday home run, don't blink, you might miss it. Colby's, you get to enjoy it a little bit longer.
Not if you're the pitcher.
Well, we all have a different perspective, don't we?
Yes, we do. Here's Hamilton, who had a really big base hit RBI in game 1 last night, and a swing and a miss as he strikes out. 2nd strikeout, most times scoring first. The Cardinals 52 this season. The Pujols Family Foundation Golf Tournament on August 8th. 9th year they've done this. For more information, the PujolsFamilyFoundation.org. Two-run shot by Colby Rasmus into right center. His 8th home run as Vladimir Guerrero hits it into right center as well, and Rasmus makes the catch. And there's one away. It's a second in as many games for Colby for this 2-run lead.
Very aggressive swinger is Vladimir Guerrero, always has been. Expanded zone. You know, it's one thing to swing at pitches all over the place, Dan. It's another thing to hit them. And Guerrero, like a lot of good bad ball hitters, just finds a way to expand the zone and get production. You mentioned the ball he hit literally on one hop. You got to try to do that at home. That's not that simple.
And he's a DH now, and clearly that's where the rest of his career more than likely will be. But we forget just how good he was defensively as a right fielder with Montreal.
Tremendous arm.
Great arm.
Expos over the years have had some great armed outfielders, haven't they? Ellis Valentine and Andre Dawson.
Larry Walker.
Larry Walker.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Derek Lee. Up and in, almost caught the jersey. Derek Lee has had some great years over the seasons of his career.
And good numbers against the Cardinals.
Spent 7 years with Chicago after he won a World Series with the Marlins. 1-2 is a grounder that's pulled foul. As you talked about, he has bashed the Redbirds. So is Berkman, so is Dunn. Aramis Ramirez, 27 career home runs against the Cardinals, and then Derek Lee at 25. Starting to get in that time of year now, Rick, where you look at certain players and you say, okay, final year of a contract. What happens to that player? One of those guys we saw on the screen, Aramis Ramirez. Is he a guy that the Cubs say we'd want him back, or are we willing to give him up to get some prospects and think about next year, the year after?
I think in the right place, he would have value for the right team that needs a third baseman, needs a guy that's an RBI guy. Certainly has killed the Cardinals over the years. But that's got to be the right place, a team that just desperately needs a third baseman.
Lee pops it up to the right side. Berkman in foul territory, reaching for it. It's off the tarp and out of play. 2-2 the count.
Dan, I know that the situation you're talking about is leading to another question with another team, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee Brewers have a first baseman that is kind of a lame duck in ways, and Prince Fielder. He's having an outstanding season. Brewers brought up a player with the idea of getting him some time at first base, so when Fielder leaves, he can be their next first baseman. That's got to be an odd team dynamic going on in Milwaukee right now, and that could be very negative for them.
And it looks like the way that they approached this year, count full now on Lee, is all chips in. You know, we're going to go out and get Greinke. They get Markham. They keep Fielder. They don't trade him. So they're saying, hey, we're going to try to do it this year with a guy like Fielder still in our lineup. And Lee draws the walk. Time again for the Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics this summer. Rick has been a part of this. Boys and girls ages 7 to 13 can learn baseball fundamentals from former Cardinal greats. And all you have to do to find out the area and time is go to cardinals.com/clinics. I know you've shown a lot of patience during those clinics with the young kids, because that's all you want to do is teach.
I've had to muster up some. 7 to 9-year-old, not my specialty anymore. There was a time, Dan.
So you're saying you've lost patience?
Nah, well, you know what? It is a blast, though, to be talking with former Cardinal players. That's my favorite part of it, being out there with Neil Fiala and Lee Thomas and Scott Terry running the show, Kenny Reed, so many other former Cardinal players, Kurt Ford. Ken Daly does a lot of these as well, and it's just, you know, kind of fun to keep that connection going, and the clinics are very well run.
Only play is to go to first. They thought about going to second base to get the lead man. Remember, it's Schumacher at second tonight, and Punto is your shortstop. So essentially, Rick Horton is saying, for you, those kids clinics are not about the kids. It's all about you reconnecting with your former teammates.
It's all about us. Yeah. Well,
Come on, Rick.
I can promise you, if the kids go out there and they don't have a good time, they're not trying. Because we have a blast, and really, they're all over St. Louis. And I know the parents get a chance to actually sit with us as we're teaching the kids how to throw a ball, how to hit, all that. And
I'm allowed to give you a little trouble now, right?
Of course you are.
Okay.
Hey, you got to come out and see one of them.
I'd love to.
7:15 wake-up call.
Oh, I'm up way before then. That's no problem. Here's Mark Reynolds. 14 home runs. Fastball. Misses outside. That's about the third time that Carpenter has kind of stared back into the home plate umpire and not getting the calls. Yeah, you see he's questioning it right now.
I know that look when you just kind of freeze. You're basically saying the home plate umpire, I am surprised at the call you just made. You don't have to say anything. You're communicating with your body language.
And now Reynolds hits it out to left. And the catch is made by Holiday. Carpenter saying, don't be mad at me. I'm just questioning the strike zone as he walks off the mound. Tough day for the Cardinals, no doubt, to say goodbye to Ryan Franklin. He was released this morning. 21-19 in 5 seasons with the Cardinals, an all-star, and the former closer at 84 saves. Along with Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes has joined us. And the first pitch to Punto is hit out to left. PA won't get it. And one hops over the wall for a ground rule double. Nick Punto, a leadoff double, had a triple here last night. Well, Jim, let's go back to the big news of the day with the Cardinals. As you get a look at the replay brought to you by Plaza Tire Service. You know, Tony La Russa, one of the toughest parts of his job over 30+ years, I'm sure, is telling guys that they've been released or being sent down, whatever the case may be. In this case, release from Ryan Franklin, and he is no longer with the club. What's been the reaction down there in the dugout? I know you had a chance to visit with some of the players.
Everyone's heart goes out to Ryan Franklin.
Schumacher into right, and it's off the scoreboard. And Punto will score, and it's 3-0 St. Louis. Long single and an RBI for Schumacher. And the Cardinals second baseman tonight now with 18 RBIs.
But everyone saw what Ryan Franklin was going through, a guy, as we get another look at the pitch, that Skip got a hold of. That is a long single. A guy that had saved, what, 65 games combined, 09 and 2010, and just never got on track. And his teammates watched him struggle. The Cardinals waited, knowing that if he could get on track, they'd have a commodity, something that could help them. And they finally made the determination after last night, where Ryan gave up a couple of runs in a third of an inning, that something had to be done, and that was an unconditional release.
Rick, in retrospect, what do you think the Cardinals could have done to try to get him back on track? Could have been a DL assignment to go clear your mind and get away from the game, or is there something that you saw that could have been done differently?
Well, clearing your mind certainly is something he needs to do right now, and whether or not he feels any better at the end of clearing his mind, we don't really know, and maybe he doesn't even know right now. But Cardinals, I think, tried a lot of different things with him. They tried to kind of throw him less, throw him more, throw him shorter, throw him in the middle of the game. I mean, they really tried him in a lot of different situations, giving him time off, bullpens, working on mechanics. And so, I think it just got to the point, as we saw in the face of Ryan Franklin in the last 3 or 4 outings, he just looked like it was torturous for him to be on the mound. He just did not seem comfortable. And it was really just painful kind of to watch him go through his diminished performance.
Dave Duncan said that it seemed with Ryan, every mistake that he made got hit hard somewhere. And he says after a while, it's just human nature to expect the worst. And he thinks that might be some of what Ryan Franklin was going through. But I know Franklin's looking forward to spending some time with his family and trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Well, this is a guy that it was about this time last year said, next year's going to be it for me. He had even come out on the record and said, I'm going to play one more year and then I'm going to be done with this. And then he retracted that and said, I think I still have that burning desire. And you wonder if he gets back home, will he get that, back to him, that fire to play, or being at home, he's made enough money. He says that's enough.
Well, Ricky still has the fire from his playing days, and sometimes that flame is hard to extinguish.
There was a time when I thought the flame was out. I came home, was home for about 4 days, and said to myself and to my family, the fire's not out. I'm going to go try again. And so I don't know that he knows till he gets into that situation whether he wants to compete or not. And it's kind of a shame, Dan, back to your first question, if we could have had a disabled list opportunity for him, and the complexities of that, is he really injured or not, really comes into play there. But the Reds did that with Chapman, so I don't know if the Cardinals could have done that with Franklin or not.
They were considering that, but the word integrity came up quite a bit when they were explaining the decision to release Ryan Franklin, because Tony last night, this ball drops in there, laid out in postgame that Ryan Franklin was healthy and it wasn't a physical thing that he was going through. So it would be hard to have your manager clearly state that, and then the player goes on the DL with some sort of injury.
So the question now, and the Cardinals are down a man here tonight. There has been no corresponding move. It will be made, I'm sure, later tonight or tomorrow. But, what direction do the Cardinals go with that spot?
How about Augenstein? He's a guy that's back, pitched well for him, showed a lot of promise.
Frankly, there are not a lot of options right now. Cardinals are kind of hamstrung a bit by the 40-man roster being as it is, and really hamstrung a bit today going with 24 players.
Ferguson is getting loose in the pen. And here is Matt Holliday. He can do some damage here. Still nobody out. Cardinals with a 3-0 lead. Runners at first and second. Holliday fly to center his first time up.
It certainly shows, guys, the fragile nature of this game and the fragile nature of performance. Where just 2 years ago, Ryan Franklin was pitching in an all-star game in St. Louis, a scoreless inning in front of his hometown fans, a National League all-star and one of the top closers in the game. Just amazing in just 2 years' time what's happened.
26 strikes, 9 balls from the starter of the Orioles. And at times, Rick, I'm sure you would agree, you can throw too many strikes that might be the case here.
Well, 3 straight hits to start this 3rd inning. The Cardinals certainly have him tracked. Yeah, this is going to be a tough at-bat for him because I think Matt Holliday's starting to get locked in. A home run last night, almost had 2.
Curveball in the dirt.
What a play that was last night by Luke Scott.
Yeah,
wow.
About to say it would have been 2 for sure if not for that catch. That might be one of the best catches we've seen in a long time.
Great.
They took it down, but earlier today there was someone had taped up something out there. I'm sure we'll get to it.
And Holliday is hit by the pitch, so the bases are loaded. So here's the catch last night by Luke Scott. Running full speed, makes the catch over the wall, clearly takes that home run away. Get to the ballpark today. The guys want to have a little fun with their teammates. That's pretty good work right there.
Yeah.
Tape up on the wall. And he is not in the lineup tonight. It's Felix P.A. Holliday hit by another pitch. That's happened a bunch this year. Now the base is loaded. And Berkman could really bust this game wide open early on. The changeup swung on and missed for strike 1. Berkman walked and scored his first time up. Nobody out, bases loaded for Lance Berkman. Will Tapper foul, 0-2.
We talked about Colby, Ricky, hopefully getting onto a real hot streak. I'd like to see that with Lance too.
No doubt about it.
A little bit.
Yeah, especially from the right side. He seems to be a little lethargic, I guess, maybe with the right-handed swing. Not as much pop there. Although Lance, sometimes it's hard to tell with him because he has such a nice, easy, smooth swing anyway. But a big opportunity here with the bases loaded. Pitcher's on the ropes. Look for the knockout punch here.
Outfield is straight away for Berkman. 1 ball and 2 strikes. David Freese on deck. 2-2. This is where a guy like Berkman can be so tough on a pitcher that's on the ropes, bases loaded, and he's so good because of his batting eye.
He's patient.
The 2-2. Reynolds will give chase, and it's out of play. The bases are loaded after Holliday was hit for the 6th time this year. That's tied for 5th most in the National League. Espinosa of Washington leads with 14. .302 on the road with 14 home runs for Berkman of his 18. The 2-2. And he does things like that too, Rick.
Staying alive. Tony Gwynn was great at that. Spoiling off good pitches. So the pitcher thinks, well, I made exactly the pitch I wanted in a tough situation. Now I have to do it again.
The 2-2. From 0-2 to a full count. And for this right-hander, one way or another, this might be the final hitter that he sees.
Which right-hander are you talking about?
Big one from California.
What's his name?
Mr. J.
Mr. J.
Trying to get him to say it, Cat.
Jacoboscus. 3-2 pitch. Berkman lines it into center. Catch is made. Schumacher will score. Throw comes into the infield. Runners stay put at first and second. And with that, it's a 4-0 lead. Berkman picks up RBI number 55.
He does his job, elevates the ball, gets it to the outfield. Could have had a little bit more production out of that. If he hits that ball in the gap, we would have Cardinals running everywhere, but nice at bat for Lance Berkman.
55 RBIs well before the All-Star break here for Lance Berkman.
Walk and a run scored and a sacrifice fly. He's 0 for 0, but he's been a big part of the offense. Very typical Lance Berkman.
David Freese was jammed his first time up. And a ground ball to short, out at second, double play. Baseball tonight brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Casino. It's now open, a sports bar for everyone. By Taco Bell, right now offering $20 admission vouchers to Live Nation concerts. And for all the reasons you invest, mutual funds from Goldman Sachs. Chris Carpenter now with a 4-run lead. Felix P.A., former Chicago Cub, will play here in the bottom of the third in Camden Yards here in Baltimore. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes with us. The Washburns are here from St. Louis. That's hit out of play. Grant Jr., Therese, Oak, Sky, all the Washburns. And Donovan says he is a big Al Raboski fan. Wanted the chance to meet Al, but we've got Rick here. Hopefully Al is on the post game. I don't know if he's on the post game.
Cal Eldred.
Cal is on the post game. So good to see the Washburns have made the trek from St. Louis to Baltimore to cheer on the Cardinals.
There are a ton of Cardinal fans here too, and I'm sure many of them are Rick Horton fans.
Well, Donovan is a young kid.
I'm not sure about that.
So there's a strikeout of PA. If you have a question, go to carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email, the booth questions. Donovan is a young man here, and I'm not sure he ever went to one of those Cardinal clinics.
I'm sure I would have given it my all for Carson.
Donovan.
Sorry.
Julie also watching. Part of the Washburn clan. And there's a strike at the knees to Blake Davis. Jim has been busy today. Jim was at the Babe Ruth Museum. Shallow center and a catch made by Rasmus.
We took a couple of players with us, Jason Mott and John Jay, and we took a tour of the Birthplace Museum of Babe Ruth. It's really a wonderful thing. They show the bedroom where he was born. They have a bat of his that John Jay and Jason Mott got to hold with. They had to wear these white gloves so as not to get anything on the bat. And a baseball card, a Babe Ruth rookie card valued at $700,000. I said, is that thing locked in there pretty good? And they said, oh yeah. And then they pointed out the cameras above. That thing is under constant surveillance. But what a nice time.
What's that thing sticking out of your back pocket?
That's a Babe Ruth rookie card.
Just wondered what that was.
Oh, was that on the air?
So
no, they were great to us there.
You'll have a feature on this tomorrow.
Tomorrow on the pregame show. And John and Jason got a real kick out of seeing.
Did they say anything about the bat? I mean, Ruth was legendary. He had a really heavy bat.
The bat that they had on display is not one of his heavier bats. Right. Apparently he would change a lot. And this, according to John Jay, was not a real heavy bat.
That's off of Carpenter. And no play as J.J. Hardy reaches on an infield base hit with 2 down.
You know what it did have on it? Notches. Apparently the Bambino would scratch notches when he would go deep.
Is that right?
Yeah. Not all of them, but this one had notches.
I didn't know that.
Carpenter had no idea where this ball went. The family, the Babe Ruth family, has businesses around Camden Yards, or had, I should say, here in the grounds of this ballpark.
They were telling me one of Babe's daughters is still around and was actually at the ballpark and was talking to the media, and they were treating her in a very gentle way, and then she started ripping Oriole management that they needed to do this and do that. She's still feisty and a big baseball.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. And a strike to Nick Markakis, who flied out to left first time up.
Hard to beat the argument. Best baseball player ever. You look at the statistics of Babe Ruth. What's so amazing to me is just how good a pitcher he was at a young age.
20-game winner twice, right?
Pitching in the World Series, pitching, I mean, winning 20 games. Just, I mean, that's unbelievable for a young guy. And then they told him to quit.
Into right center, that ball gets down. That'll go all the way to the wall. J.J. Hardy being waved in. And he will score. The Orioles get on the board. It's a 2-out double. Nick Markakis as he drives in his 31st.
Chris Carpenter's had some rough defense behind him this year. And in this case, if he's able to field a ground ball hit right back to him, he's not dealing with this. Nick Markakis with a double into the gap. That scores J.J. Hardy. So 2 outs, nobody on, and the Orioles make something happen here in the 3rd inning.
Jim, before we let you go, before this inning comes to a close, we should let our fans know that Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan have switched up the pitching rotation, haven't they?
Yeah, they moved up Jaime and moved back Jake Westbrook, so Jaime will go tomorrow, and Tony's reasoning for that, he says, better matchups for one, and also they would like to get Jaime the extra start before the break.
Markakis now an 18-game hitting streak. That's a new career high. Most hits since 2006, and Markakis in the top 5 of the American League. No surprise to see Ichiro atop that list. One ball, one strike on Adam Jones. Seen Carpenter this year really throw that cutter an awful lot. Not to say that he's totally gone away from the breaking ball, Rick, but a lot of cutters this year from Chris Carpenter. That cutter, though, at times has been a very good pitch for him.
I still like his curveball better than his cutter. I think he likes his cutter better. Curveball has been a little bit inconsistent from time to time.
Here's a grounder. Punto, though, to his left and makes a fine play. Colby Rasmus will dig in as we move to the 4th inning here in Baltimore. And it's 4-1 in favor of the Cardinals. Colby with a long home run his first time up. 2-run shot. Wound up being his 8th of the year.
A little surprised his big right-hander still in this game, Dan. He was on the ropes last inning. Got Berkman to line out to center field, then an inning-ending double play, but he was really struggling. Cardinals were swinging the bat very well. A lot of good at-bats. He had 3 hits in the inning. Matt Holliday was hit by a pitch. Really fighting for his life, and he's going to want to have a nice quick inning here. Colby Rasmus, as you mentioned, homered in the 2nd. I think he's working a little too quickly right now. Almost his motion is rushing to the plate instead of being relaxed, in a hurry.
Now the 2nd time through, and you see this year 340 the average against him, and it's a leadoff walk. Voting still open for the All-Star game. You can send your favorite Cardinals to the ball game by voting up to 25 times at Cardinals.com. Vote early, vote often, vote right now at Cardinals.com. Last 3 innings, including this one, the Cardinals have had their leadoff man on. 1-2-3 first, but since then it's been rough sailing for the big right-hander. He's hit a man. He has walked 2.
And as we talked about earlier, he's throwing a lot of pitches under stress.
Yadier Molina fly to center first time up and rips that foul.
Location is meant to be away, and it's middle in. Everything is up as well. A lot of his fastballs up in the zone.
Colby, one of those guys that has good speed, and maybe you'd like to see him run a little bit more. Get a test here with Matt Wieters. Leads all catchers, entire league, in runners caught stealing, 20. He also leads in fielding percentage, just 1 error.
Good count for a hit and run. Although Jackie Vasquez is so poor with his control right now, you might be running into a swing and a miss and a strike and a caught stealing, with Rasmus mentioning how good Wieters' arm is. You have him on the ropes a bit too. You get the sense that he's going to pitch himself out of this ball game in this inning if you just are patient.
1-2 the count. Molina slices that foul and out of play. Absolutely gorgeous night here in Baltimore. Camden Yards, we had just over 20,000 here last night. Our first ever regular season visit to Baltimore. Cardinals did play an exhibition game in the late 90s and then began the season in Montreal right after that exhibition tilt.
I think Buck Showalter has the makings of a pretty good lineup here too. I think starting pitching is an issue with the Orioles, but their lineup's pretty decent.
Strikeouts a little bit of a concern for the Orioles, but you look at the production power-wise from the third baseman, the shortstop. Wieters, they feel, is going to be a very, very good player before it's all said and done. You've got a Gold Glover in center and Jones.
5th in the American League in batting, next to last in pitching. That tells the story for Buck Showalter.
The 2-2 pitch. Little flare into right near the foul line. Markakis makes a fine catch in foul territory, and Rasmus back to the bag at first.
The Orioles have also been a bit of a station-to-station team, and I think the strikeouts have something to do with that. You really hate to send runners when you believe that your batter's not going to make contact, clearly hit and run, or in that situation. But even beyond that, a lot of strikeouts really hurt the manufactured run game, because you're not moving guys over, you're not hitting sacrifice flies. So really a station-to-station offense here.
Runner at first in a 4-1 game. Hamilton struck out first time up and looks at a strike. Hamilton served as the designated hitter last night, and again here in game number 2. Pickoff play. Trying to throw behind Hamilton, and it wound up being an odd throw. And Lee, is a Gold Glover himself, made the play.
Well, he actually gets tangled up with Hamilton at the plate. He actually hits him as we look at the end of the throw, but a collision between Wieters and Hamilton. Hamilton didn't move in the box. which he's entitled to his space, and Wieters really didn't get space between himself and the batter, and so they actually had a little bit of a collision. Be interesting what would have happened had he thrown that ball in the right field, if they would have called some kind of interference.
One ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Punto is on deck. Nick Punto with a fine play on a ball hit up the middle that saved a run. Playing shortstop tonight. Terrio is on the bench. 2-2 the count. Hamilton rips it off the glove of Derek Lee into right field. And Rasmus on his way to third. Almost as if Lee was there trying to make the catch and then get back to the bag, but in doing so it goes off the end of his glove.
Might have been thinking a double play. Let's see the replay. Line drive just past Derek Lee, who's very sure-handed at first base. Certainly will be a base hit for Mark Hamilton. He hit that ball right on the nose, but it very easily could have been a double play.
And because of the non-double play, inning extended to Nick Punto. Doubled back in the third inning. More activity in the Baltimore bullpen. Punto with a high fly ball out to left. PA is there. Rasmus draws the throw, does not tag, and Punto cannot bring him in. Six Flags Day coming up at Busch Stadium Sunday, July 10th. The Cards and Diamondbacks, all fans 48 inches and under receive a free ticket to Six Flags. For Cardinals tickets, visit Cardinals.com. Ferguson is throwing in the bullpen for the Orioles, second time that he has been up. That Sunday game, there are $15 terrace level seats, $25 pavilion level seats. That Sunday against Arizona, Six Flags Day. Also, it's a family Sunday. That means that if you purchase a terrace level seat, you also get a free Hunter hot dog and Coke.
Where would you rather be than at the ballpark?
It's the final game before the All-Star break. Schumacher. Little tapper to Dave McKay. Skip tonight with an RBI single off the wall in right field. Also popped out to short. In the hole here, 0-2. Cardinals have introduced dynamic pricing this year. A lot of fans have taken advantage of those discounted seats. Matter of fact, we get back on the 4th of July, and that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the Reds, $9 seats are available, terrace level, $20 pavilion. 4th of July, first pitch at 5:15. Then you could stay downtown and watch the fireworks. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hamilton down to second in a rundown throw to the plate, and they got him. Rasmus gunned down at the plate. It's 4-1. Join the Cardinals. They'll take on the Cubs. It's our road trip to Wrigley package. You get hotel accommodations, game tickets, a chance to mingle with some of the players. 800-892-7687. Again, the number 800-892-7687. August 19th through the 21st.
Looks like taking away a hit, Dan, from J.J. Hardy. in the 3rd inning and scored that an error on Chris Carpenter, which makes that run unearned. Now they just changed it again back to a hit.
There's no way that could be an error.
I agree. It was on the scoreboard as an error 5 seconds ago. They changed their mind twice.
1 ball, 1 strike on Vladimir Guerrero.
The 3-sided coin going up there.
Guerrero with a base hit. You talk about the versatility of a guy like Nick Punto, who gets a start at shortstop here tonight. And in this particular play, their middle infield made the play.
I don't think that Hamilton was going on a prearranged play. I think he just took off because the ball was in the dirt. Colby Rasmus did the right thing, trying to score. Bang bang play at the plate. I'm not sure it was worth the effort or not, but I think it really started with Hamilton just reading the ball in the dirt. Cardinal runners are taught, in the dirt, you take off. Something good usually happens, and in this case it didn't. But at least you forced the Orioles to make a good defensive play, which they did.
Here is Derek Lee, 4-1 Cardinals. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Lee with a high fly ball into right field. John Jay makes the catch, quickly back into the infield. Guerrero stays put at first. Here's Matt Wieters. Grounded out to second. Cardinals would love a double play here. Most double play ground outs. Baltimore at 73. The Cardinals at 87.
And a ton of those early on for the Cardinals. There was a time that they were 25 or more double plays ahead of the second place team. Kind of leveled out a bit. There's a nice view of the Orioles defense. Another good look at Camden Yards. Dan, we just really had fun here and just love this ballpark, and not just the ballpark, but it's the setting here in Baltimore. Very close to the Inner Harbor. Just a short walk there. And just really a beautiful setting, and I think fans that come to the game here just have a great experience.
Little tapper. Carpenter goes to first and out. So 2 outs, runner at second base, and we turn to the AT&T trivia question. Who recorded the first strikeout at Camden Yards? Rick Sutcliffe. Got Mark Whitten of the Indians at the time. April 6, 1992, opening day at Camden Yards.
2 former Cardinals.
Hard hitting Mark Whitten, who was back at the winter warm-up in St. Louis.
Did anybody work slower than Rick Sutcliffe?
No. By the way, since that time, it may surprise you, Rick, even though that this ballpark is nearly 20 years old, good breaking ball there, the dimensions actually have changed. They tore up the playing surface, put in a better drainage system, and the walls actually have been moved a little bit. So the dimensions changed ever so slightly. Swing and a miss here by Mark Reynolds. You have the high wall in right field. It's 318 down the right field line, 333 down the left field. 400 plus out to center. And an 0-2 pitch. Got him. A swing and a miss. A strikeout for Chris Carpenter. And that is number 2 tonight. This Missouri Moment is brought to you by the Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. Historic Hannibal, most often known as America's hometown. Explore Mark Twain's famous boyhood home and 2 museums. Always a stop for us, it seems like, on the Caravan. Good folks in Hannibal. Find out more at visitmo.com.
They just pack that room in Hannibal, don't they?
They really do.
I mean, it is overflowing with people, and they are so excited to be talking about Cardinal baseball. And that's usually, what, last week in January, basically, second or third week in January. And really, Cardinal fans get revved up pretty early.
The one that I just was floored by was in Cape. The return of Kerry Robinson brought down the house. I mean, it was unbelievable.
That's great.
Southeast Missouri State fans, and Kerry played there, St. Louis native, and he got up and spoke and actually was fairly emotional about it. It was really neat.
Great to see him working for the Cardinals now.
A lot of work as far as public relations over the last couple of years, but now working as a scout.
That's a lot tougher job than people might think.
You're
not just going to the ball game and saying, hey, this guy looks good, this guy looks bad. You got to know a little bit more than the other guy knows.
Past Felix PA in left field, and Schumacher picks up his second hit tonight. Single RBI, and now the double. He'd also popped out to short.
Felix PA's thinking these kind of smallish middle infielders keep hitting the ball over my head. I'm going to have to play a little bit deeper. Schumacher, as Punto did, drives the ball over his head. Got a good jump on it, too. Just ran out of time.
Starting to see Skip getting more and more locked in after his injury. Schumacher, the runner at second base. Here is John Jay. Least wants to pull it to the right side. Matt Holliday on deck. Or do that. A bunt. Reynolds only play to first.
I like it. Put Schumacher into scoring position for Matt Holliday. He was hit by a pitch in the third inning. Very nice form by John Jay. His versatility in that second spot. A little bit of power we see every once in a while. He can pull the ball. He can bunt. Also think of him as a pretty good hit and run guy.
Here is Holliday, and he looks at a strike. Schumacher had entered tonight 0 for 7, batting in the leadoff spot, but tonight he's 2 for 3 with that RBI. He stands at third base. Infield in the 1-1. Holliday, big swing and a miss.
Dan, it's probably been a good thing in the game of baseball, but I just had a little bit of a flashback thinking about the bench jockeying that used to be done in this game. I mean, I just sitting there thinking that the Cardinals could be screaming at this pitcher, what are you doing still in here? We're going to beat on you. They don't do that anymore. In fact, teams in the American League stopped doing it before teams in the National League.
Popped up, and that'll find the seats.
I'll never forget my second day as a Chicago White Sox, and what a thrill that was, I might add. I'm on the bench and playing the Mariners, and I start yelling at the other team and just think that's what you do. And Dave LaPointe comes over to me and whispers, we don't do that over here. And I said, really? He said, no, this is a boring league. This is just a softball game over here. We've got no decisions made in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. We just wait for the home run and sit down and watch the game. It's
probably, you're right. It is a softball league, isn't it?
And he said it's not. This is not the show. You're not in the show anymore, is what Dave told me. I mean, you're not in the excitement of the National League. You are in the boredom of the American League. That's how he described it. Now, there will be people that will quibble with that, of course. Dave LaPointe played in both leagues, but certainly a less intriguing game to me in the American League.
Hardy looks back the runner. Holiday can't come through. You hope this doesn't come back to haunt the Cardinals. They've had 2 opportunities, runner third and less than 2 outs, and have not brought him in. Punto, and then just moments ago, Matt Holiday.
Actually, smart base running there by Schumacher, even though the shortstop was back a little bit. That ball was hit so hard, you get no chance to score. Now they're going to walk Berkman. Chance for David Freese to contribute again.
Freese on the night is 0 for 2. Berkman, by the way, sac fly RBI, a walk and a run scored, so his second walk of the night.
And that bench jockeying I'm talking about, you know, it was never malicious. I mean, nobody would ever really get upset about it. It was just part of the fun of the game. And, you know, guys who played way before my time, but the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then even into the 80s, that was just part of the deal. That's just what you did.
I want to remind you, the Cardinals and the Blues have teamed up always for youth camps, and the youth hockey camp for the Blues is coming up. Players ages 5 to 12 train with the pros, including some of the players. They'll be there July 25th at the Ice Zone at the St. Louis Mills. Go to stlouisblues.com for more information.
Be great for them to be with those young kids.
As much as you have enjoyed your time, you might have to put on the skates and get out there with those kids. Here is David Freese, runners at the corners. Rasmus on deck. He is homered. And a 1-0 pitch to David Freese. Line drive, base hit up the middle. He makes him pay. Freese comes through, and it's 5-1 St. Louis. David Freese with RBI number 15.
And that's a way not to worry about missed opportunities. Come up with a 2-out hit. David Freese making his presence known last night and again tonight. Just drives that ball, very simple swing, takes it back up the box. No chance for Hardy. Cardinals keep the pressure on offensively. 2 runs in the second, 2 in the third, now 1 in the fifth.
Colby Rasmus with a home run. A 2-run homer back in the second. Walked in the fourth. We've talked about guys that have to step up. The absence of Albert Pujols. You always think of the big guys, and there's the pitch count for this right-hander, but you think about Berkman and you think about Holiday, certainly, but now they get David Freese back. He's got to step up, and so does this guy at the plate, Colby Rasmus.
Say that maybe the second level of Cardinal sluggers. It's not Berkman and Holiday, but it's, you know, Schumacher getting on base. It's Rasmus hitting some gaps and hitting some home runs occasionally. It's Yadier Molina with 2-out hits. David Freese with contribution. There are other people that contribute. It doesn't have to be a 40 home run guy. You just have to have guys hitting in the clutch, driving in runs.
Off-speed pitch. He was out in front and popped it up. Foul territory. Reynolds makes the catch. Cardinals strand 2, but David Freese, following the intentional walk, makes him pay. It's 5-1. Jaime Garcia gets the start tomorrow. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap, and Jaime moving up a spot, and he will get that start initially. He was not going to make that start. He would have been in Tampa, but they move him to the start tomorrow. Westbrook will go against Tampa Bay on Friday.
Cardinals would love to be looking at a potential sweep tomorrow. Very, I don't want to say important. Every game's important. If you ask Tony La Russa that, of course, he gets the hairs on his back of his neck stand up, and he says every game's important, and that's the way he manages, and that's why he's been at this for so long. But you know, the road trip is important to the Cardinals as they come off of not playing well for a couple of weeks, needing to kind of make a statement to their fans, to the rest of baseball, and maybe even to themselves that we're a better team than we've been the past couple of weeks, and we can win without Albert. And trying to prove that here in Baltimore. They won game 1 and a good start in game 2.
Felix PA, a base hit. Have to keep a close eye on Carpenter. Now you're getting midway through this game, and you want to see how the effects are of the previous 2 starts of going so deep into games. Chris Carpenter will tell you he's in the best shape of his life.
We talked about in the scouting report, the ABCs of Chris Carpenter today would be to beware of pitch count. 120 plus the last 2 outings. And he may be in great shape, but there aren't very many pitchers in all of baseball right now throwing 120 pitches in 3 straight starts. I don't care how old they are.
Here's Blake Davis, who flied out to center first time up. You wonder about the outing of Lance Lynn last night. For fans that did not see it, 2 innings, he struck out 5. If his role in that bullpen all of a sudden grows by leaps and bounds with no Sanchez, no Ryan Franklin anymore. There's a line drive out to right, drops in for a hit. Force play at second, safe PA. First 2 have reached.
John Jay caught that ball cleanly. He might have been able to have a ground out to right field. He has the right idea. He's thinking about the short hop and throw to second base, but that little bit of hesitation. PA had to be careful because he thought he might catch the ball. So he's thinking about going back to first base, kind of a bang bang play, and Punto doing the right thing, stretching on a potential force out at second base.
J.J. Hardy, 1 for 2. He's flied out to right, also singled and scored.
Lance Lynn probably, you wouldn't expect him to be available tonight, but I think your point about him is well taken. I actually asked folks on the Twitter universe today who they thought the Cardinals' 8th inning guy should be. Got a lot of Lance Lynn votes, got a lot of Mitchell Boggs votes, and the distant third was Aaron Miles.
Distant.
The distant third.
Good. Lance Lynn, there he is last night. Mitchell Boggs on the right, Lynn on the left. With 5 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work. One ball, 1 strike here on J.J. Hardy. Nasty breaking pitch. 1-2.
Very classic Chris Carpenter right there. Now he's ahead. Now he has to finish him off. Don't let him back in the count. Press the advantage. Something just off the plate.
Elevated that pitch and fouled back.
I always had the philosophy, and I think a lot of pitchers do, that you don't really try to throw a pitch to get a ground ball. You try to strike them out, and if it's nasty, it may result in a ground ball. It's a slight variation of thinking.
Hung that, hit down the left field line and foul. We got away with that.
It's been one of my aversions to the way we talk about pitch to contact. I just don't like that phrase. Dave Duncan uses it a lot. I think if a pitcher's pitching to contact, he's going to be backing up a lot of bases. I think you try to strike a guy out with your best pitch, not afraid of contact, but try to throw your best pitch, hope for the strikeout, and plan B is to hit the ball on the ground and get 2 outs.
1-2 the count on Hardy. Leadoff man. Runners at first and second. Grounded foul. And the Cardinals again scoring with a 2-out base hit at the top of the 5th inning. David Freese now 7 for 14 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this year.
Both our third basemen have been very good in that regard. taking pretty healthy cuts here. 1 and 2 count. J.J. Hardy first came up, I thought you could knock the bat out of his hand. He's kind of a punch and Judy hitter and a great fielding shortstop. Now all of a sudden he's a home run hitter.
This ballpark will allow you to be that way too. Seen its share of home runs. Another hanger, but knocked down by Freese. Can't come up with it. Bases loaded.
Absolutely right. It's a hanger. It could have been a lot worse. Freese not able to come up with it. Tries to catch it on the backhand, then can't find the handle on the baseball, and all of a sudden Chris Carpenter struggling here in the 5th inning, and he's in a very dangerous part of the Orioles order and their best hitter at the plate.
Nick Markakis, 18-game hitting streak. Got to number 18 with an RBI double in the 3rd. Center fielder Colby Rasmus shading him just a bit to the opposite field. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The command of Chris Carpenter has left him in this inning, and he needs to get it back in a hurry.
One and 2.
Velocity hasn't left him. 95 miles an hour.
Both managers looking on. Buck Showalter, Tony La Russa, and now the 1-2. Slowly hit. Carpenter can go to the plate for the out.
Looks like the simplest of plays. All you do is take a couple of steps, catch it, make a short little flip, but we've seen a couple of throws go wild this year already. They had Chris Carpenter, who has a couple of errors on the season, made sure of that 1 out. Didn't try to get 2. I think that's where you get into trouble, by rushing it a bit.
Here is Adam Jones. Twice he has grounded out to short. Does own 1 grand slam in his career. That last time he grounded to short was a fine play by Nick Punto to his left.
Calling out Yadier Molina as Chris Carpenter. Chris Carpenter has had some innings this year, Dan, that have gotten away from him. You think about his losses. A lot of the losses are just one really bad inning. Nick Punto in on this conversation as well, wanting to make sure they're all on the same page, how they're going to pitch Jones. Maybe talking about changing the signals as well, with the runner at second base. But he's trying to avoid that big inning here. It has the makings of one.
Challenged him with a fastball at 95. Little flare, left field. Holiday makes the catch. 2 outs.
Chris Carpenter does a great job with Jones in this at-bat. That fastball, they blew by him, and then another good pitch to follow, an off-speed pitch. Pitched Markakis well, pitched Jones well, and now Vladimir Guerrero stands between him and a 0. There's the pitch to Markakis. Now a good curveball has Jones out front, perfect location. 1 more to go. This would be some job, Dan, him getting out of the center.
Yeah, bases loaded, nobody out. Markakis up, then Jones, but here's a very dangerous hitter right here, Guerrero.
Started all 3 of them out with the same pitch. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, about shoulder high. Guerrero has hit Carpenter very well.
Two balls and no strikes. Two and one. Guys like this, I would imagine, Rick, are so tough to pitch to because they will swing at anything. You think you make a great pitch and all of a sudden they get a base hit.
They are good to pitch to in the sense that you don't really worry about walking them, though. That's the other side. And if you're an Orioles fan, you're thinking, boy, wouldn't it be nice if he'd get a walk every once in a while.
Guerrero with a high fly ball into right. Jay is there, and Carpenter gets out of the jam. Screams as he comes off the mound. We've seen that before. 5-1 St. Louis. All-Star game coming up on Fox July 12th. Biggest names in the game of baseball will all be in Arizona. It's the All-Star game at 7, only on Fox. Incredible job of pitching for Chris Carpenter. And now a new pitcher is in for the Baltimore Orioles, and it's our Chevy called to the pen.
And now we don't have to say the name Jock Ubaskus again. Now we have to say the name Bergeson.
Bergeson was up twice before coming into the ball game right now. 1 in 6 and his 14th appearance. Carpenter gets Markakis, Jones, and Vladimir Guerrero, 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup with the bases loaded and nobody out and no damage done. Five runs, 7 hits. Jakubakis, 5 runs. He walked 3. One of those was intentional. Fastball that's taken low by Yadier Molina. 2 balls and no strikes. 88 pitches for their starter. And the 2-0 pitch to Molina. Fly ball out to center field. Adam Jones makes the catch. Fox Sports Midwest broadcast legend. Rick made up his own distinct history. No, you wrote this.
No, you did, Dan.
Former Cardinals pitcher Rick Horton throws a complete game at San Diego, allowing only 2 hits and a 5-0 shutout back in 1984. Our Schnooks, this date in history.
I'm sure everybody remembers that.
You're a pretty good writer. It's well done.
I could have embellished it a little more, frankly.
Oh, I'm sure you could have. Mark Hamilton is 1 for 2. He has a base hit to right. Line drive off the glove of Derek Lee. And he struck out.
It was all downhill after June 29th, 1984.
I bet you remember odd things from certain games that no one would remember. But, you know, as a player, certain instances, matchups, those kind of things.
But isn't that true of anybody that's ever played sports, played a game? You remember a high school game. You get guys together, played high school football. They talk about this play. You remember the name of the play 30 years ago where you ran, off tackle, and you remember the guy's name who tackled him, and you know the temperature, and it was raining, and you were playing on a Saturday. I mean, just you remember little details, and that's one of the joys of sports.
That was a nice play by the second baseman, Davis. Remember, they are missing Brian Roberts, so Blake Davis getting a chance at second base and comes up with a good play.
Really, their best player, Brian Roberts.
So 2 outs, and here is Nick Punto. Popped up and out of play. I think along with Tony La Russa here, after watching that last half inning by Carpenter, you're thinking, all right, gets out of that jam. Let's squeeze, if we can, one more inning out of him maybe, and then turn it over to your bullpen. He's had 76 pitches right now.
I would think he wouldn't want him to go over 100 pitches, maybe 100 max after the 120 the last 2 outings. And we'll see.
Punto out at first. Carpenter back to work. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Jack's Really Big Chicken Sandwich Combo. And it's back only at Jack in the Box for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. Here's Derek Lee. First pitch to Derek Lee was a strike. Rick has been writing his own copy for tomorrow's Schnooks at this date in baseball history.
I don't think I did anything even remotely as good on June 30th. I'll have to find somebody else.
Fox Sports Midwest legend, Rick Gordon. Yeah, that was amazing how you got that first line in there.
It's a lot of words, but you just kind of cram them in.
It just flew,
You read it well, by the way, with a lot of sincerity.
Two and two the count. Your normal rider, Keith Korn Olbermann, is taking this series off. And we miss Korn. There's a strikeout of Derek Lee.
Does not like
Lee
the
is
call.
still standing at the plate.
He's going to have to move eventually. Is it a strike or not? Fox Tracks tells us the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. Carpenter may be amped up a bit, Dan, after that last inning, and concerned about how many innings he goes from here. I mean, it's probably feels like he's had a big weight taken off his shoulders after pitching with the bases loaded, nobody out. Tough part of the order. Seems to be working quickly here in the 6th.
Take a look at where the umpires set up. He sets up on the inside portion of the plate for the hitters. So, for instance, lefties, he's there. Righties, he's on the other side of the plate. And you wonder if that, somehow changes his zone from lefties to righties.
I never really liked the umpire that much separation from the catcher, because you feel like, look, I'm trying to pick up a target here, and as you're in the middle of your motion, you've got this big kind of blob target. You should be just looking at the glove, but it almost throws you off a bit.
A lot of umpires just stay in the same spot. Clearly that's not the case with our umpire tonight, Manny Gonzalez.
Well, in defensive umpires, they are scrutinized more than ever before because of things like Fox Tracks and the proliferation of instant replay. They are judged nightly and harshly.
It's hit down the left field line, slicing foul and out of play. One ball and 2 strikes. Foul back again. The truth of it is, too, Quest Tech, Fox Tracks, those kind of things have been a nightmare for umpires.
They really have. I mean, I think they've held them to a higher level of accountability. And, you know, there's always a lot of players and fans alike that will say, well, the umpires have no accountability. They really do. We just don't get to hear it, what the results of that are. But they get rated by, they have supervisors. They have to go through kind of, you know, just any kind of reviews like anybody else would, but they just don't make them public. So there's not a number on the board saying that Gonzalez is 95% right tonight. And if they did, then the fans would really have a field day with it, wouldn't they?
Rubbing up that baseball. It's 2-2.
Of course, from the players' perspective, they feel as if umpires are a little bit like Supreme Court justices. Kind of once you get the job, you're in.
Yep. So the umpire rubbing up the baseballs, and for people that don't know, those balls are rubbed up with dirt and
Special
mud.
dirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Before the games. Mississippi mud. Heard that before.
I've also heard the number too. It's actually in the rule book, the number of balls they have to rub up every night, and it may be 6 dozen. Not sure if that's the right number, but there's a lot. I mean, it's a job. And a veteran pitcher, if it's not done correctly, is going to feel like the ball's a little bit too slick.
Ground ball to second. Schumacher makes the play. Think about John Smoltz and Chris Carpenter a couple of times in Cincinnati. Do you have a car and love baseball? Then don't miss discounted Cardinals tickets from Phillips 66 Gas when you fill up with 10 gallons or more. For complete details, stop by your local station or visit cardinals.com/Phillips66.
And on cue, Carpenter throws the ball out that he doesn't like because he doesn't like the feel of it. Gets a new baseball. And you're right, in Cincinnati it was an issue because Bronson Arroyo actually likes the balls not rubbed up. The ball's not rubbed up, it tends to sail on its own. You don't know where it's going. Bronson Arroyo doesn't throw very hard, and he likes that little extra movement, doesn't care about the feel so much. But most pitchers want it to be a little bit more of a tacky feel, which happens when you rub the ball up.
That was unbelievable. Watching that game, Smoltz would get a ball, throw it out. Get another, throw it out. And it became a real problem for him in that game, almost to the point where it was taken to another level of that was the sidebar that turned into the story instead of worrying about trying to get people out.
Maybe a close second to the other story in that same kind of genre of Al Raboski throwing balls out one after another.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny.
It's a high drive into right center, and John Jay makes the catch. Must be in the front row. I want to remind you that the greatest Midsummer Classics moments are in the Final Four. That includes Stan the Man and his walk-off home run in 1955. Go vote for Stan right now. MLB.com/moments. And you can vote for Stan the Man. He's still alive in the Final Four. Underway here in the 7th inning. 5-1 St. Louis. Good night for Skip Schumacher. Couple runs scored, pair of hits, RBI, 2 for 3. off the end of the bat in front of the plate. Wieters makes the play. Stan the Man, 1955 All-Star game. And again, you can vote on his walk-off homer. MLB.com/moments.
Boy, Babe Ruth really pulled his head on that pitch from Carl Hubble, didn't he? I've seen that video many, many times before, which I still need to say we're voting for Stan. I want to be clear about that. But Babe Ruth had some pretty bad form there, Dan.
I was actually watching Stan.
You were probably doing the right thing.
And when he hit the ball, he knew it. See that finish, classic swing of Stan the Man. Never good when the catcher has a reaction of either dropping his head or walking towards his dugout. That's usually not a good sign. 2-1 the count here on John Jay. Couple of hops to short. J.J. Hardy. Carsoup.com email the booth question. Larry in Arnold, Missouri. How is a cutter thrown?
Well, Larry, I think a lot of people are confused about a cutter. A cutter is very similar to a slider. A cutter is thrown by holding the ball off center. Your fingers are close together, a little bit like a two-seam grip. Your fingers are close together, not wide apart, and you're going to hold the ball off center, throw the outside of the ball, and make it just move from left to right on one plane. Not really that hard a pitch to throw.
The Home Depot doing more on defense, and this was earlier tonight. How about Nick Punto on this play?
Yeah, very smooth, Nick Punto. So interesting to watch him play the infield, Dan. He often throws off the wrong foot, throws off his right foot instead of his left. It's just a habit he's developed, but very, very smooth with the glove is Nick Punto.
Very quick hands, and the thing you get concerned about with him at short tonight would be his arm, which is why he was on the disabled list. The first throw that he made tonight kind of lobbed it over there. Wasn't real crisp, but when he has to put a little something on it, he can. That's off the plate. Tough play here. Schumacher. Underhands. Got him! Oh, what a play by Skip. Do or die, and the only way he can make that play is to flip it out of the glove.
Absolutely right. Skip Schumacher has been very good defensively this year. He has to charge the ball, number one, and he's going to have to flip the ball all in one motion right to the bag, and he still just barely gets the runner. He knows how fast he is. Perfect play by Schumacher. Any kind of transition from glove to hand, and he's safe. Wow.
And this is popped up and an easy out here. Carpenter takes it 2 away. Great to see Carpenter screaming at Skip Schumacher in a positive manner, saying, hey, heck of a play. Guys on this team really appreciate the effort that Skip has made at second base and trying to make that transition there.
Skip is much more central to this team than most people might realize from the outside. Unless you really travel with these guys and are around them, it's hard to really understand how much everybody loves Skip Schumacher, wants to see him contributing, wants to see him right in the thick of things and in the middle of things. And, you know, he's starting to swing the bat well, hasn't made an error at second base all season long, and has just been very solid. And we talked about the timing has improved. But that play was outstanding. And he's helping out his starter, Chris Carpenter. We talked about Carpenter needing some run support. He's had very little of that. Defensive support, very little of that. The third key was keeping the pitch count down. He's at 101 right now. Probably his last inning.
Doesn't get the call on the outside corner. No activity right now in the Cardinal bullpen. Cardinals let Berkman freeze. Rasmus coming up.
Hard thing of playing in an American League ballpark, you don't really have the forced decision to take your pitcher out because you have to hit for him.
Exactly.
It's just a gut feeling.
2 hops to Punto. Guides it over to first, and J.J. Hardy is retired. 8-pitch inning for Chris Carpenter. It's 5-1 as we head to the 8th. Next time you want to catch a Cardinals game, head to StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Again, a reminder, Cardinals leading 5-1. We'll be back home on July 4th. And good seats available. $9 terrace level seats, $20 pavilion level seats for all 3 games against the Reds. That's part of dynamic pricing. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Here is Lance Berkman. In the dirt to Berkman. 2 balls and no strikes.
Milwaukee trailing the Yankees 4-2 in the 6th inning. Pirates and Toronto tied 1-1. Cincinnati a run up on Tampa Bay in a very close National League Central. Cardinals 2 games out going into play today. Pittsburgh just a game behind the Cardinals. How about that? And then Cincinnati half a game behind them.
Fly ball out to right off the bat of Berkman for the first out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals on that homestand will also see Arizona, and Arizona has improved from when we first saw them. They're now 7 games above the 500 mark and in 2nd place in the National League West.
Colorado's hanging on. They're just a game under 500, 6.5 games out. San Francisco with the good pitching, they're going to be in it for the long haul, no doubt about that, and I just would never count out the Colorado Rockies.
Here's a ground ball left side, deep in the hole. J.J. Hardy. There's no activity right now in the Cardinal bullpen, so the Cardinals will try to squeeze 1 more inning out of Chris Carpenter.
And one of the reasons is you've got Markakis, Jones, and Guerrero coming to the plate, but it is a stretch. Colby, our Nissan drive of the game, came in the 2nd inning. 2-run shot, scored both he and Lance Berkman, gave the Cardinals the lead, and they have been on top since.
Now you do have a 24-man roster going here tonight. No Ryan Franklin again. He has been released by the club.
Lance Lynn probably not available. Salas questionable. Makes the bullpen a little bit short with guys that you want to be pitching in the 8th and 9th inning. Jason Mott probably be the next choice. Part of the reason I think Tony's going to try to squeeze a little bit more out of Carpenter.
High fly ball into right field. Stays in the ballpark, and Nick Markakis makes the catch in front of the track. Sonic game recap. Chris Carpenter at 7 innings, still in this ball game. 6 hits, 1 earned run. Rasmus 1 for 3 with a home run, pair of RBIs. Also Schumacher's had a big night for the Redbirds. But the Cardinals again trying to get 1 more inning. You would think 1 more out of Chris Carpenter.
Yeah, it's been great baseball so far for the Cardinals. Still no action, as you said, but getting very close to that time where you might want to have somebody go along with Chris Carpenter.
Daniel Descalso is in this game, and he's at 3rd base.
What I mean by that, Dan, is just kind of watch what Carpenter's doing. It gets a guy on base, maybe start to get loose. Think about who you'd want to bring in for the 3rd or 4th hitter in this inning if Carpenter does have any problems, because Carpenter's going to get close to 110, 115 pitches very quickly if he gets a couple runners on base.
Hitting streak at 18 games for Markakis with a double tonight. Ground ball up the middle, and it's a leadoff base hit on a pitch that was up. Kevin Gregg is getting loose in the Orioles bullpen as we speak.
Would expect that to stir the Cardinal bullpen. I can hear the phone ringing now. Stirring about. Cardinals bullpen actually near the Orioles bullpen, just above it.
There's a look at your pitch count last 3 outings, including tonight. He's at 106. Adam Jones, the hitter, he is 0 for 3. One of the best jobs of pitching out of a jam we've seen this year came tonight. Back in the 5th, bases loaded, nobody out, and Carpenter got Markakis, Jones, and Guerrero. 1, 2, 3, and in doing so, no runs allowed.
Outstanding. I like the movement of that pitch. You know, Carpenter's been throwing 95 miles an hour, but I prefer that 93-mile-an-hour sinker, Dan, to the straight 95. That was nasty. That had tremendous sink on it.
You could see where a right-hander would give up on that pitch too.
To me, that's the Chris Carpenter pitch that is unhittable. Late movement, nasty sink. He may try that again. He did.
Mott throwing hard now in the bullpen. He's getting loose. Reaching for it, fly ball into right. Jay, a sliding catch. Takes the hit away, and a fine play by John Jay again in right field.
He's shown that he's very good at making this play on the run. Kind of a do or die catch for him. He's going to go down, and if he doesn't catch it, all kinds of problems.
At times when the defense this year has abandoned Chris Carpenter, that has not been the case here tonight.
Absolutely not. Errorless ball game all the way around.
High chopper. Schumacher fires to first, and they get the out.
They sure haven't made Carpenter work very hard in this inning. 8-pitch 7th. Guerrero swinging at the first pitch there, an 8-pitch 8th inning so far.
Derek Lee takes a breaking ball low and away. There's that pitch that you're talking about, Rick.
I love it. I love it. That's a great sinker from Carpenter again. Perfect location. Dan, earlier in the season, Chris Carpenter was throwing 115 pitches in 5 innings or 6 innings.
So then the question becomes, what's different?
He was actually searching for that same answer. We were chatting about it around the cage. He said, I've got to do something different. I'm having too many swings and misses. I'm not letting the ball get put into play. Strikeouts were high in some of those games. Way too many swings and misses. He was allowing guys back in the count, getting deeper into a count instead of putting them away.
Well, this has been last 3 starts now, vintage Chris Carpenter.
Absolutely.
This will be pitch number 116 coming. 2 balls, 2 strikes here on Derek Lee. If Carpenter is through after this inning, and again, we don't know the way things have been going lately, you turn it over to Mott, or who's the guy that gets you those final 3 outs?
I think Mott's the right choice.
We will find out as Punto makes the play. What a job tonight by Carpenter.
Cardinals lead at 5-1 as we go to the 9th in Baltimore. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Cal Eldred are back in the studio. Carp cruises again. Colby goes deep, and Cal's midpoint awards. That and more coming up. A look at Tony La Russa as we go back to the booth, guys.
Yeah, if the Cardinals can hold on, Jim, thank you. Tony La Russa will see his club go to 5 games above 500. Here's Kevin Gregg, the former Cub and Blue Jay and Florida Marlin. He is their closer, 14 of 18 this year in that save department. Trying to get some work here tonight.
And a good reminder from Jim, and the folks that watch the post-game show will get Cal's awards, but it is a good reminder that this is the halfway point, game 81. So it's really multiplied times 2 days. So you look at the seasons that players are having. Lance Berkman with 55 RBIs is on pace for 110 RBI season. How about that?
I think you would take that, huh?
No doubt. 36 home runs. Again, this is just doing the very simple math that even I can do, Dan. Kyle Loach picked up his 8th victory last year. We'll let our fans do the math themselves on that one. Very good night for him last night. 5 strong innings before the rain came.
Hardy makes the play. Molina retired. Here's Mark Hamilton, who is 1 for 3, single back in the 4th. Tommy, our director tonight. Mike Kelly, our producer. Danny Martinez, Brian McCann, all with us. Our exceptional crew here in Baltimore. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out. Punto is on deck. The next 2, Hamilton. Thought they were a great crew until Elaine started sleeping through our commentary. She won't be the first and certainly won't be the last.
I think she's playing Words with Friends on her iPhone is what I think she's doing. Caught her doing that earlier.
Here's a 2-2 pitch to Hamilton.
She is a sharp lady, let me tell you. Terry also falling asleep. And that was no act.
Hamilton draws the walk. Nick Punto, it's a small sample size, but he's given this club a little jump both defensively and offensively. Very fine play. It's short earlier tonight, but how about what he's done at the plate?
Yeah, I've seen how the ball jumps off his bat. He's had a couple of hits where he has a really kind of easy swing, a little bit like Lance Berkman, not exactly like Berkman, but where he just kind of has an easy approach and the ball just jumps. Early in this game, his line drive over the left fielder's head was just a nice, smooth, easy swing, and the ball went a long way to left. And we saw it last night as well, a couple of hits in game 1.
0-1 pitch. Catches the corner. 0-2. goodness. Base hit for Punto, and thankfully for Greg that it did not hit him. Boy, that's scary, isn't it?
Well, it really is, right about head high too, and he just kind of ducked out of the way. Looked like at the last minute this ball was hit right on the nose. Let's watch it. Actually tested his arm after kind of jumping to get out of the way. I'm not sure the ball hit him, actually. I just think he was so quick in that movement, he wanted to make sure his arm was all right.
Strike to Schumacher.
Now, I've always wondered, defending my brethren, Dan, why there's always so much consternation about balls being thrown up and in, and nobody ever complains about hitters who are openly talking about trying to drive the ball up the middle and hit pitchers. And that's what they're taught. That's the best swing. It's the best approach, really, is to try to drive the ball up the middle. Pitchers, of course, are much tougher than hitters, so we don't complain too much about it. But I'm doing it now.
Much tougher, huh?
Of course.
Strikeout of Schumacher. Gray got the call on the outside corner, 2 away. We saw Jason Mott up and throwing. There has been no one throwing during this half inning.
Either he's ready or he's not coming in. Which do you think?
I'd say they're going to go with Carpenter. Two balls and no strikes. John Jay. Oh, and you know that Kevin Gregg does not want to face Holiday with the bases loaded. Holiday is 4 for 7 against him.
Gregg has been a bend but not break kind of pitcher. He has a very good curveball, closer role. Usually makes it interesting, but gets the job done. A lot of closers like that.
The pitch was just a strike moments ago to Schumacher, taken for a ball. It's 3-1.
Cardinal fans would remember Jason Isringhausen having a couple years like that. Always be a base runner to make it interesting. But he always, well, not always, most of the time got the job done.
Here's a 3-2. Runners go, and it's hit in the air to left field. PA is on the move and makes the catch. Carpenter. Can he finish what he started? We're about to find out. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope with Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. Chris Carpenter has gone 9 innings one time this year. 30 career complete games for Carp, last coming May 25th against the Padres. You might remember he went 9 innings against Chicago as well.
I'm surprised he's out for the 9th, but I'm not disappointed.
First pitch down by 4 runs, and Carpenter well into 100 pitches. They're swinging away at that first pitch. Raul Valdez getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. Started the game wondering how Carpenter would come out of the back-to-back 124 pitch ball games, and we've got our answer here tonight.
You wonder if the question was ever even asked to Chris Carpenter by Dave Duncan. How do you feel? Sometimes the catcher will ask you that question, but you have to be kind of careful how you get that information from the pitcher who's locked in. You don't want to kind of suggest that, hey, how do you feel because we think you should be tired? I mean, you don't want the pitcher to start thinking maybe you're wondering about how effective they are. So you try to just feel them out and get a sense of that. And obviously Chris Carpenter has shown no indication of wanting to come out of this ballgame.
Well, you know that he does not want to come out, but sometimes being sensible, you want to say you take that decision away from the pitcher, and you know, maybe it's not, Rick, his next start or the start after that, but you get into September where you need to reach back and get something, and you wonder about this little stretch if it would come back to haunt the Cardinals and Chris Carpenter.
And one other factor that comes into this kind of decision is there an off day that's going to push him back to being able to start on an odd number of days or get an extra day, and he really doesn't going forward, so that's not the issue.
0-1 pitch. Strike 2 on Reynolds. 0-2. You know, and you think about it when you watch some of these guys like a Wainwright at the end of last year, you know, not that they run out of gas, but it is tougher to go deeper into games when you need to. And you need to have these guys be ready to go 7, 8, and hopefully 9 innings.
All-star break certainly coming up. That's a factor. So the rest you're talking about, you're going to get a little bit just through that. 2 more starts left for Carpenter before that break. But this will put him at 114 innings if he goes all 9, and it sure looks like he's heading in that direction. And the multiplying by 2 thing that we've been doing, 114, that's a pretty hefty number of innings over his course of the season.
This is a guy that piled up the innings last year and the year before. He has really gone to that breaking ball here late, too.
I think he's found something in the last few innings, too. I think that may be part of the reason he's out there. I think his sinker is much, much better than I've seen, and that curveball was sharp. And so is that
again.
one.
Yep.
I mean, I think you can make a case that his stuff has been better in the 8th and 9th. Our Budweiser player of the game, Chris Carpenter, than it was in the first 3 innings.
25 of 35 first pitch strikes for Carpenter. I like what we see here with the breaking ball, especially. You've talked about it before. You can get cutter happy.
I like his curveball better than his cutter, and I like that sinking fastball better than the 95-mile-an-hour straight fastball. Cardinal fans who are here at Camden Yards are on their feet again, just as they were last night.
What a job here by Carpenter. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Breaking ball just missed. The other starters watching the top step of the dugout.
They're actually in the rotation, by the way, from right to left.
The 2-2. Line drive. Holiday is there and dropped it. Eerily similar to postseason play at Dodger Stadium. Oh, man.
Dave Duncan out to talk to Chris Carpenter. We've talked about the defense supporting Chris Carpenter. It doesn't here. Matt Holliday just kind of boxes that one. Carpenter thinks the game is over, but it's not.
Game is extended Blake Davis and Berkman trying to figure out if they want him to hold the runner with a lefty up. Now they're going to put him back.
Tony moving him off the line too. He wants him to play kind of a normal first base position and give PA second base. And the error by Holiday. He's aboard with 2 outs.
And now,
and you really don't want to get back to the top of the order here either, Dan.
this pitch number 128. His career high is 134. And again, the Orioles down to their final strike. It's Matt Holliday's second error this year. Cardinals very well could end up winning this game. They're 1 strike away from doing it, but the concern is the pitch count right now for Carpenter. The 0-2 pitch. Would you agree with that?
It's a concern on one hand, but the other hand is how amazing is it that he is throwing so effectively this deep into a game after having thrown so many pitches. Long term, you're right, it's a concern. Short term, pretty amazing performance for Chris Carpenter.
Another 0-2 pitch. Got him. He ends it with a strikeout as he goes the distance. Chris Carpenter, gutsy performance here tonight. Wow.
That was fun to watch. Chris Carpenter, you said it, Dan, vintage Chris Carpenter, outstanding. Ended it on his own with a strikeout. Great movement late in this game. Wonderful to see Chris Carpenter back on top.
The strikeout for Carpenter to end the game. Says, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it, and gets it. Cardinals hold on. Post-game show coming up next.
Game is over with a very impressive Cardinal victory in Baltimore. Cal Elder and I ready to break this one down and wrap it up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Remarkable in a lot of ways. Chris Carpenter was phenomenal.
And watching him strike out the last hitter looking, it gives me, a former pitcher, chicken skin. You know what it's like. You get the big bumps. You're excited for him. What a performance by Chris Carpenter.
More from Cal on Carp coming up. Plus, after the reserves came off the DL last night to power the Redbirds to victory, the Cards looking to make it 2 straight at Camden Yards, and they did. We'll break it down. And Chris Carpenter able to make it 3 straight strong starts after a pair of 124 pitch performances. Carp's able to be even more durable tonight. And we'll take you back to Baltimore for Tony TV. Plenty of Cardinal reaction as well. Plus, we've reached the midway point of the season, which means Cal's handing out some hardware. Happy 4th birthday to the iPhone. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. There's an app for that, and it's coming up next.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Another 0-2 pitch. Got him. He ends it with a strikeout as he goes the distance. Chris Carpenter, gutsy performance here tonight.
132 pitches to get the 27 outs for Carp's 31st career complete game, a 5-1 Cardinal victory. Going right back to Camden Yards, Jim Hayes standing by with Chris Carpenter, our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game. Cat?
Chris Carpenter gets the complete game win. And Chris, it seemed like you were getting more effective as the game wore on. Did you feel that way?
That was great. You know, I mean, as the game went on, my command got better. Started getting the ball down a little bit more than I was early in the game. A lot of those fly balls there, but great defensive plays, or score early. I mean, that gives you that's the remedy of winning ball games. They give me a chance to go out there with a nice lead We got guys making great plays. Skippy with a couple great plays. John Jay. You know, we got guys making plays, and we score some runs. It's easy.
Back-to-back games of 120 pitches or more, over 130 tonight. I guess you don't mind that because you're in a groove right now.
No, it's great. I felt great. I felt strong all night long. I felt strong in the ninth there. The pitches don't really matter. You work hard off the field to get yourself in shape to be able to go out and throw that many pitches. You know, you just go out and do the best you can. It worked out nice.
Getting past the 5th inning, bases loaded, nobody out. I guess once you got past that, you felt like you could go from there.
Again, yeah, that was a big inning, man. You know, a couple quick hits there to load the bases up, but I was able to continue to make pitches. You know, we got some balls to Matt, that shallow curveball there, and I was able to get out of it.
Thanks for the time. We appreciate it. Congratulations.
All right, thanks. See you guys.
All right, Chris Carpenter, send it back to you guys.
Terrific outing for Carp, and we welcome you inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio in St. Louis. It's the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live with Cal Eldridge. 15 games above 500 against the AL East in your career. That's impressive.
Me?
Carp with his 50th win ever against the American League, now that he's been in the National League for quite some time, and his 31st complete game in his career, as I mentioned earlier. A terrific outing for him. To have these 3 in a row is rather remarkable.
It is remarkable, but you really go to the fact that he mentioned his workouts in between, the lead that the team got him, the plays, the defensive plays that they were able to get for him. Plus, he said himself, I kept the ball down later in the ball game, which leads to quick outs, some of the quick early base hits where he didn't have to throw 4 or 5 pitches. Those were key also, because then it followed with double plays and great defense.
I know you're a big Twitter guy, so the tweet is on, and what we're asking you to do here is obviously tweet us your questions and comments via Twitter at FSMidwest. Also, put hashtag Carp on there. Let's get him trending here in St. Louis. Have hashtag Carp blow through the roof tonight after this terrific performance for him. And right now we're going to get back to the broadcast booth at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Dan McLaughlin and Ricky Horton rejoin us now for a view from the booth to wrap up what is a very memorable night for one Chris Carpenter, guys.
Well, it really was, and you think about Carpenter going the distance, but how about that 5th inning?
Yeah, the 5th inning was really the key for Chris Carpenter. It just seemed to catapult him the rest of the way. Bases loaded, nobody out. He's able to get out Markakis. He's the best hitter on this Orioles team. A little harmless one to the catcher, and then a lazy fly ball to left. Adam Jones, a big RBI guy. Now he's just one pitch away from getting out of that 5th inning. He gets out Vladimir Guerrero, and an outstanding night. After that, 15 out of 17 batters were retired by Chris Carpenter. And again, Dan, I think we were hitting on the fact that we both felt that he was getting better as the game went on, particularly with his sinker and his curveball.
And later in the show, we'll talk about Jaime Garcia. He'll get the start. Cardinals looking for a sweep tomorrow. Let's send it back to you.
That has a nice ring to it. Thank you very much, John. Look forward to that preview. And we're going to talk right away about Chris Carpenter as well and our Helitech King of the Hill. And Ricky was right. We saw it, too. We thought he really got stronger and stronger. We got out of that 5th inning jam. He really took off from there.
He did take off. He mentioned that his pitches got lower in the zone, and he became more effective, just got more and more locked in as the game went on. And he is our King of the Hill. Great location early with cutters, with the 2-seamer down in the zone. He used his breaking ball and his fastball. The 2-seamer, you see the little bend in the ball? That's the 2-seamer right there coming back on the plate for the punch-out. He got a lot of quick early hits that turned into outs. Key for Carpenter.
And we talk about that 2-seamer, and a lot of people think of that as a lot of sink, but it can have that little run-back motion on it, and he was spectacular. The right-handers think that thing's way outside, and all of a sudden it runs right back into the plate.
It comes in on him when he throws it on the inside part of the plate, and left-handers, they think it's a ball, going to be a ball, but it comes back and is a strike. Plus, later in the game, as Ricky alluded, he went to his curveball more often.
132 pitches tonight. How about the last 3 for the workhorse ace of this Cardinal staff? He goes 2-1. Remember the one loss. He certainly pitched well enough to win the game, but he didn't get the run support. He got the run support the last couple of games. 24 innings pitched. The average pitches per game, 126.7. Pitches per inning at just 15.8. He faced 99 batters. And it's one of those things where there's just so many stats we can run down. Last guy to throw 132 pitches a game, Jason Marquis back in 05. Alan Bennis, the last Cardinal to have 3 straight starts of 124 pitches or more, and that was in 1997 for him. Remarkable numbers for a remarkable pitcher, but the bottom line for him, Cal, I think in a lot of ways, is this is 2 wins in a row for a guy that's deserved a way better fate than a 3-7 mark.
2 wins in a row, Pat, and he really deserved to be able to be 3-0 in this stretch. One of the big keys to this really is what happened yesterday. Used to cut 3 guys out of the bullpen. Lance Lynn was the long guy. Was not going to be able to use him tonight. Plus, Salas worked more than an inning to get the final outs in that ball game yesterday. They all got a rest today. That's a huge, huge lift to that bullpen.
Dave, I should say, Tony La Russa said before the game that Chris Carpenter might just have to close the game tonight, meaning he's going to have to go the 9 innings. We doubted that he was going to get there after that 5th, and then we said, okay, after 8, yeah, he's got to be done. He was at 116. I wrote it in ink. I had to change the 8 to a 9 now. This is an example of in the 8th and the 9th inning, he really did get sharper and stronger as it went on.
He's a 35-year-old man who works his tail off in between his starts, and he understands what he needs to do in between starts. And looking at the 8th inning, being able to make a great play and get the ball outside. High hopper here. This is not an easy play. Give Skip Schumacher a lot of credit, but you see everything's down in the zone, whether it's a sinker, the breaking ball right there, Punto, the opposite foot throw right there, and then in the 9th inning, he comes back and he had a couple breaking balls, set up that sinker down low in the zone for a ground ball, getting out of the zone with the ground ball, or out of the zone for a strikeout with the curve, and then this is a ball that Matt Holliday's gonna say, I should have caught, but Carp does what a closer does, Pat. Comes back and throws that 2-seamer that the left-hander thinks going to be a ball inside, runs back on the corner of the plate for the punch out, the final out of the ball game.
By the way, he's 36.
Is he 30?
In April, he turned 30. So first time you've ever been wrong on the post-game show, Cal, but I wanted to correct that because
thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give guy credit where credit is due. Carp, one word, awesome, and we're trending here in St. Louis. So hashtag Carp on all of your tweets tonight as the tweet is on Tony's 72120. We thank you for that tweet as we try to get recognition from Twitter Nation about Cardinal Nation's ace, and that is Chris Carpenter. What can this do? And what has it done for this rotation to see what Carp's done these last 3 times through?
It's given some of the other starters, not only has the bullpen got it's eased them a little bit as far as their workload, but it's given the other starters the opportunity to use that bullpen now as this road trip continues on. Plus, tomorrow, they've got a chance to sweep a good American League East team. Even though they're in last place, they're still a good ball club, and then head to Tampa Bay, hopefully with a sweep, and they've already got that 500 record, even if they would go get swept in Tampa Bay, but it gives them the advantage, those other starters, to be able to use that bullpen and get them out of there later in the game if they get into a jam.
It really does have a great sound to it. This ball club was going nowhere when they hit this road trip, and now suddenly win these 2 in a row. And you have a little bit different take that maybe this team with the replacement, the reserves coming off the DL, as we said, and Chris Carpenter pitching well, it's going to mean really good things as we head towards that last stretch before the All-Star break. We're going to continue here on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Of course, got the big news about Ryan Franklin to talk about. Also, we're going to hear from Tony La Russa, some Tony TV on tonight's 5-1 victory. Stay with us on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest.
Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is brought to you by Country Financial. What's your idea of financial security? And by Taco Bell, right now offering $20 admission vouchers to Live Nation concerts.
Plenty more reaction to the Cardinals' 5-1 victory of the Orioles in Baltimore in just a moment. The Cardinals announcing this afternoon that they have given Ryan Franklin his unconditional release, the righty who has 65 of 72 saves in 2009 and 2010, but was just 1 for 4 with 4 blown saves and a 8.46 ERA this season, gets that release. Jim Hayes did speak to the general manager, John Mozeliak, about the moves this afternoon.
Fact is this game's based on performance, and that was not there any longer. And he was a part of a lot of the success here in this organization, and I think it was starting to really frustrate him to not have that type of success any longer, and I think he was starting to weigh on him.
It was getting to be where he was expecting something bad to happen much more than he was expecting something good to happen. So I think he just really, last night was really, really hard on him. He felt like he had good stuff, and yet still didn't get the job done that he expected to get done. And he took it pretty hard. And I know I talked to him quite a bit after the game and again this morning. And, you know, he needs to clear his head. He needs to get away. And so maybe this is the best thing for him.
Like I said several times, and I keep repeating it, I think it's important for our fans to know, he suffered more than all of us. And this is a time away, and then we'll see what the second half of the season is for him.
And by the way, the Cardinals will announce a corresponding roster move tomorrow to take the spot on the 25-man roster for Franklin. And this is a pitcher who not only was a good guy and well-respected in the clubhouse and around baseball, this is a guy who was amongst the best in the league in 2 straight years as a closer in 2009 and 2010, but completely different fate this year.
There's nothing, as you look at this, that in 2009 and 10 is anything close to the word worst. And unfortunately, he had a number of those this year in 2011. 65 saves, a 2.71 earned run average. He pitched in a lot of ball games in 2 years, 121 ball games. He was such a dependable, not just dependable, but a very, very good closer, ranking 4th in the league in those 2 years. And the tough thing for Frankie is that as you watch this video and see these pitches are being driven this year, Pat, that's the issue. Balls in the middle of the plate, guys getting a lot of wood on it and driving it, not just doubles or a single, but hitting home runs, and that is not the Ryan Franklin that we've been accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, giving up 9 home runs already this season. That's just, you know, you might see one a month from him giving up when things are going well. That's just because sometimes that happens, but that's just far too many for a guy who wants to get right and regain the closer spot. And I think Cardinals did all they could do to help him try to regain that role.
And Dave Duncan mentioned that it was more the mental part than anything else that was the key for Ryan Franklin to get away from the game. Sometimes when you're in that daily routine, you think you're making good pitches and guys are hitting them. And with Ryan Franklin, that was the case a lot of the time. So I can understand his frustration, his disappointment. He feels like he's letting a team down. He needs to get away, as Dave Duncan said.
And hope he gets right, and perhaps we'll see him back in baseball in the not-too-distant future. The tweet is on again as we continue to talk Carp's terrific performance tonight as he picks up his second straight win. And this is says Carp is a beast. Hey, Jack's Link, let's have messing with, oh yeah, that's that messing with Sasquatch campaign, messing the Carp commercial. I kind of like that idea.
I do like that. Have him sitting in his chair in front of his locker before he starts.
Don't mess with him.
Don't mess with him.
Yeah, he'll bite your head off. Or he'll just blow one by you.
That's right.
Tonight. Back with more. Colby, we'll talk about him next. Show you all the highlights from tonight's game in Baltimore. Second inning, a man on for Colby Rasmus, and one of the longer home runs we've seen him hit.
And not, well, maybe as long as the one last night. That one almost left the yard.
That's exactly right. 8 of the season for him puts Cardinals up 2-0. To the top of the third, Skip Schumacher up with Nick Punto on second, and Skip hits the longest single of his career.
This thing is an absolute bullet that comes right down to Markakis, and Skip's like, I better stay at first. I'm going to get thrown out, but gets the RBI.
18th RBI in the season as Punto scores 4-0 now in the bottom of the third. Nick Markakis up with a man on first. Markakis goes shopping at the gap. It's a double to right center. Scores J.J. Hardy. Markakis has an 18-game hitting streak. The lead is cut to 4-1. By the way, Skip now has an 8-game winning streak. Seems modest compared to an 18-gamer, but let's not lose what he did tonight in the whole Carp terrific pitching performance. Cards then with the runner on first and third and top of the fourth. Skip Schumacher up. Mark Hamilton, well, he's caught up, and then they go home and they get the runner there, and it's just an unfortunate thing, and you hope it wouldn't come back to hurt the Cardinals.
Yeah, you really did, because there was runners on, and they needed to keep adding on, and they did it in the fifth.
They did it in the fifth. David Freese. What is it with our third base position this year? 2 outs, that's just when they seem to get going. Freese now 8 for 15 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs this season. Carpenter and Jam on the fifth, bases loaded, nobody out. Gets Markakis to ground into the force. Then he gets Adam Jones to fly out to shallow left. Can't score a run on that. And then he gets Vlad Guerrero to fly out deep to right. He just missed that, but that's what he did all night, was just miss with Vlad Guerrero.
He did, and you notice every one of those pitches, Pat, were either on a corner and down in the zone. That's how you get out.
To the bottom of the 7th, Felix PA up, and he hits a slow roller to second, and there's Skip. A little underhand flip with the glove. Only one way to get this out, and he did it.
Use your glove. There's no time to transfer it to your hand. Great flip.
So Carp's cruising along. He gets stronger as he goes. Then 2 outs and 1 on after an error. Carp is able to get the strikeout of Blake Davis to end the game. 31st career complete game. He scatters 7 hits, allows just 1 run, and he strands 8 base runners, 5 strikeouts on the evening, and he picks up his 2nd straight win. He goes to 3-7, an ERA down to 4.00. We're talking about maybe one of those historic kind of turnarounds if he can start stringing some of these wins together.
The great thing is he's pitching well and he's getting wins, so that always makes everything look so much better.
Certainly does. Let's go back to Camden Yards, inside the visiting clubhouse, and hear once again from the ace of the Cardinals staff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, no question about it. You know, I got myself into a jam there in the 5th, but I was able to get out of it with some good pitches. From that point on, I controlled counts, controlled the game. I mean, I felt like I did the. I felt like I did the whole game. You know, they took some good swings there in that 1 inning early. You know, just ambushing me a little bit, but it was an awesome game all around. I mean, you look at some of the defensive plays. Offensively, boom, we come out, we score some runs early, throw at bats on them, just continue to put pressure on their guy. And that makes it easier when you got guys diving all over the place, making great plays, and scoring runs for you early. It definitely makes you be able to go out there and get some confidence and stay aggressive.
Chris, I know you want to go as deep as you can every time out, but are you more conscious of it when the bullpen's a little short that maybe you'd like to go?
No. I mean, I'm really not. I do what I need to do. I do everything I can to go as long as I can. Every time out, if I go up there trying to say, okay, I need to go deep because the bullpen's short, that's the wrong focus. That's a distraction of what your goals are for that game. So my day is to take the ball as long as I can. If it's 4, 7, 8, 10, I mean, you do the best you can.
You had 132, which was too shy of your career high. So wasn't
Really?
that as far as you've gone yet?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You're not counting, but
No.
you had to know it was a lot of pitches.
Oh, I know. I mean, I knew tonight I had a lot of pitches. I didn't know that I had thrown that many before, is what I'm saying.
Right.
The way that they've been letting you determine your own games to this extent, I mean, maybe a dumb question, but I assume that's something you really appreciate and enjoy, having that opportunity to be there.
Absolutely, and you know, Dunk asked me after the 6th, after the 7th, after the 8th. You know, fortunately that 1 inning was super quick. But to be honest with you, I feel just as good at the end as I did at the beginning. So, you know, you work hard off the field, doing the things you need to do to stay strong, to be able to do those things, and I felt good.
The tweet is on. It's from Fastball. 2011 Chris Carpenter equals 1985 John Tudor. That's what I was alluding to. Perhaps a historic run here by Chris Carpenter is in his future. Of course, John Tudor in '85 went 1-7, and then after that turned it around, went 20-1 from that point on in the season. His situation was a little different because he was not pitching well at all. Found a little from his high school coach, found a little something in his mechanics, and then took off from there. Carp has been, with the exception of 1 or 2 little hiccups, has been very good. He's getting better, yes, but it hasn't been this mechanical flaw. It's just, well, as you saw the one graphic, he had 11 runs of support in his last 6 starts before these last 2, where he's had 11 runs of support. So a lot of things could go his way, and maybe they are trending his way.
And John Tudor and Chris Carpenter have a little bit in common. They both a little grouchy kind of dispositions on the day they pitch, and then when Tudor's game starts, he'd talk to anybody. But I really think that what Carp has done has really continued to push and push and push, but not too hard. That's why he's able to use many different pitches to get those outs.
hold that thought because I want to let Cardinal Nation know that Chris Carpenter, Carp, is now trending number 3 in the city of St. Louis, thanks to Cardinal fans. So hashtag Carp when you tweet us, as the tweet is on here at FS Midwest, and we'll try to get him up to number 1. Cupcake Wars still a little far ahead of him because Jilly's Cupcakes here in St. Louis won the Cupcake Wars last night. But, now we're ahead of Cupcake Wars.
We are.
Oh, we're ahead of Cupcake Wars.
Perfect. Christy and the kids would be watching that.
That's exactly right. Well, if Jilly's wants to give us some cupcakes at any point, like Pappy's gives us some barbecue every once in a while, we're getting a little off topic.
Yes.
We enjoy talking food, but let's talk a little bit more about Carp. It's our Don Brown deal, the game, and you mentioned using pitches. You said earlier in the show using all 4 of his pitches to kind of set one another up, and he was doing that tonight.
And you see them repeated when they need to be repeated, but as Chris Carpenter's our Don Brown deal today, really used his 4-seam fastball, his cutter, his 2-seamer, and his curve very effectively. In the third, Felix PA, you see the 2-seamer right there, or a cutter to start out, the curve. Now he's at 1-1, and he comes back with a nice 2-seamer. A cutter down and in at 84, taking some off of it. Now he comes back with that 2-seamer. The cutter went the other direction. The 2-seamer comes back the other way on the inside corner.
No idea what's coming.
You don't know what's going to happen. Which one should he swing at? Then in Markakis, the easy get me over curveball for a strike. He loaded up on a 2-seamer too much right there. Now 95 instead of 92 with the 4-seamer. Comes back with a little curveball down in the zone, which is exactly the pitch you need to throw to get that little pounded in the ground ball. Got the out at home plate, very important. And then Wieters, he has long at bat here, 95 with a 4-seamer. The 2-seamer, he comes back at 92, staying away from him now. Now the ball started away, comes back in for the strike of the curveball. He has to chase that one right there, the second repeated curveball. Up in the zone again with another 4-seam fastball. Tried to get him with the curveball, then finally another breaking ball. He's got to swing at those pitches because they look like they're strikes. He goes inside with the 4-seamer. Another 2-seamer. See, he's going in and out, in and out, in and out. And now, finally, a nice 2-seam fastball away. He went in and out on Wieters. He went up and down on Wieters. Back and forth with the breaking ball. In other words, that pitch is much slower than the 4-seamer or the cutter of the 2-seamer, so he gets him leaning out front. That's why he's tipping it and fouling off. And then finally, just a simple 3-2 2-seamer down and away. Gets the rollover Beethoven and a 4-3 out.
11 pitch at bat for Wieters, and we thought in that 6th inning maybe that was going to be the undoing of Carp as far as how long he could stay in the game, but he just got stronger from there. Just a single and an error for another man on base. So 2 guys on base in 4 innings for the Orioles because Chris Carpenter was just that good. We've got another, we got to look at some notes on Chris Carpenter in this start, and it was a good one. Most pitches by a Cardinal since 05, Jason Marquis threw 132, and Carp tonight also 132. Second most pitches of Carpenter's career through 134 as a Blue Jay in 1998. Second most pitches in baseball this season. Tim Lincecum threw 1 more on May 21st. That Lincecum guy.
Well, and sometimes an ace of a staff, a top 1 or 2 guy has to go into the 130s because, as you heard Tony La Russa say, sometimes these aces have to close games too. Give the bullpen a blow or just say, you know what, we need that win because today that win clinched this series.
It's
and
all
that
about
is very, very important.
It certainly is. The tweet is on. Another tweet here to show you, and this one talks about Carp. Carp, simply awesome performance. The 5th inning was a huge boost to him and the team. Vintage Carp for sure, and that's where he took off. And let's break down this 5th inning because it started to get him away from him right with the first batter, and that's Felix PA. 3 straight singles here, Cal.
Well, and most of these you see them, they weren't deep in the count. That was only a 1-1 pitch for a single with Felix PA. Getting the single, and this is first pitch of the at-bat. Now you got first and second. PA almost gets thrown out at second. The first and second right away. He's only thrown 4 pitches. He's got guys at first and second. Now he's ahead in the count. That's a hanging breaking ball. But David Freese would tell you, I should have had that one. That ball was hit hard, but we've seen him gobble that up and at least get an out. Bases loaded, nobody out. He gets ahead in the count, and then pitches like this, the breaking ball, and a great play by Carp too. That was a fantastic play coming off the mound. Not an easy play for a pitcher. Really, it's keeping your feet underneath you, turning your shoulders and making a nice throw. Early in this at-bat, a little breaking ball, 0-1 pitch down, and a little bloop to the left. This pitch was key because if he leaves that out over the plate a little bit more to Guerrero,
we know what he can do.
That's a homer, and that's 4 RBI.
Yeah, and his hot zone is up and away a little bit, so if you leave that a little too far out there, he can absolutely crush it, and you're talking about a grand slam and a whole different feel to this ball game for sure. But as we mentioned from there, Chris Carpenter really, really took off. Yep. We're going to go back to Baltimore now and to Camden Yards because Skip Schumacher, an 8-game hitting streak, what was he, 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored and an RBI. We're going to hear from the Cardinals second baseman right now.
When you see Carp going along, it looked like he was getting stronger as the game progressed. Did you see it that way also?
Yeah, I mean, Carp's been very good his last few outings, and you know, win or loss, I mean, he's got his stuff back, and he's commanding the zone better now. I think with his fastball, I think that was his concern. And I mean, the guy's throwing 95 with 120 pitches in. So his cutter work and his curveball, you know, he's the ultimate competitor and the most prepared guy. And when his stuff is right and he's healthy, which he is, he's our ace, and that's what we expect.
It's almost like there's no pitch count with that guy, right?
I don't think so. I mean, he's as conditioned as anybody and works as hard as anybody. So I don't think anybody was concerned when he was, you know, 120s, that kind of thing.
What does it do last game? Did you consider him the most dominant guy in your staff right now? Certainly what he did tonight backs that up. When you say that, despite what he was going through earlier in the year, what are you looking at that maybe other people miss?
Well, I was looking at, you know, his competitiveness. He's still got it. He's prepared. His velocity. It's one thing if all of a sudden he's 88, but he's not. He's mid-90s still, and with movement. I mean, it's not just like he's throwing straight. Still as prepared as anybody, and his secondary pitches are as good as anybody's in the game. So when I see all that, and I just knew it was just going to come together eventually, and it is. And like I said before, he's the type of guy that we can ride and can rattle off, you know, a 10-game stretch, and the guy that can really take us out of a funk if we are in one.
What's coming together for you here lately? And is it just a matter of actually getting some bats in a row, or what's?
Yeah, I mean, I said before the timing was the issue for me, and some guys can come back with, you know, minimal at bats. I'm not good enough for that, so you know, I needed as many at bats as I could, you know, before I came up, and you know, extended's a little different than big league pitching, so I knew it was going to take some time, and hopefully I'm on the right track.
How much easier is it for you guys to play on top, like these 2 games, as opposed to like what was going on at home when you were playing?
Well, it's good. I mean, I think that's why the pitching's been good, because part of it, because we've been getting some runs for him, and it's a lot easier than pitching in 1-run games and all the time, and you know, 2-1 or whatever, and then we got to, you know, our bullpens, you know, we tight about that or whatever it is, and so it's nice to have a lead, and pitchers can get comfortable and pitch how they want to pitch, and not think about, you know, oh my gosh, if one guy gets on, you know, this could cost me or something, you know, that type of thing.
You guys came out swinging pretty aggressively against their guy and made it work pretty quickly. Is that you sort of expecting him to be around the zone when you come out against him?
Yeah, I think our game plan was to be aggressive, and you know, we didn't face him before, and that's usually the pitcher's advantage. You know, but we were prepared, and kind of, you know, had a meeting about it, and guys came out swinging, and you know, it's a patiently aggressive approach. It's not just go up there and swing, but we didn't want to let a fastball go by, and a lot of guys put some swings on it, and we were fortunate to put a few runs across early.
And your defensive prep evenly split between bare hand throws and glove flips? Is it?
I'm not going to try to do that anytime soon again. That was a miracle, so I'll take it, and you know, I'm glad it worked out for Carp.
Don't listen to Skip. No. He is the hardest working man in all of baseball, and it paid off with the hardest hit single of his career as well.
He hit the right field wall, he hit the left field wall, and I mean,
3 bases out of it.
And got 3 bases out of it. Not usual for Skip Schumacher. This is what Skip's been doing lately, is pulling his hands in and being able to put the head of the bat on the ball that's inside. And then when he gets the 90-mile-an-hour fastball away from him, he's driving the ball away to the opposite field. That is why Skip Schumacher has had 5 multi-hit games and hitting so well.
And 8-game hitting streak, and scored 2 runs tonight with that single and the double, and drove in 1. And defensively, well, he said he'll never do it again because you know, it was just luck or whatever. No, come on.
He's practiced so much. I don't think there's an infielder that's worked any harder than Skip Schumacher in the last couple of years since he's made that change from being an outfielder to being a second baseman. They still play him in the outfield at times. So Skip Schumacher, I got a feeling we'll see that again.
And we've seen him moving towards first base from that second base position much better this year. It seems to be a real key focus for him, and I think we saw him really take a great stride from last year to this year.
And we do like the Blake Shelton, Toby Keith shirt that he was
It's looking
sporting
good.
tonight.
If that's who you say that looks like, I'll
Yep.
take your word for it. We're going to continue here on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. If you look at the final out one more time, we'll be back to talk more about tonight's 5-1 win. Stay with us.